Hi, welcome back to The Missing. I'm Ariane. If you tuned in last week, you know that we are featuring a missing persons case each week. Last week we featured the case of Mark Anthony Mestis from New Mexico. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you can email lovedonesmissing@gmail.com. I also want to apologize. I know there was a volume issue on last week's video. Some devices were clearer than others, so I do apologize for that, and hopefully we've got that fixed this week. Today's case is about a 13-year-old girl named Tabitha Danielle Tuders, I believe is how you say her last name. She went missing from Nashville, Tennessee. Her nickname was Boo. They described her as 5'1", 100 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. She does have a significantly noticeable scar on her stomach as well as on one of her fingers. It did not list which finger, so if you see her, we'll be showing some pictures throughout this video as well as some age enhancements, seeing as she went missing on April 29th of 2003. Tabitha's story goes like this. Morning of April 29th, normal morning. Mom gets up for work about 5 a.m. She said that when she got up for work, Tabitha was still asleep. Fine. She leaves for work. Tabitha is woken up by her dad around 6 a.m. He leaves for work, leaving Tabitha to get herself ready and get on the bus for school, which at 13 years old, I guess that's an okay thing to do. She got ready, left the house at about 7:50 a.m. as she did every morning, and walked to the bus stop, which is said to be, at the time, 5 minutes away from her house. From there, her mom came home from work at 1 p.m. that afternoon. Tabitha was due home at 4 p.m. and never showed up. So, as any parent would do, she got in her car, she drove to the bus stop. No Tabitha, didn't see her on the way home, so it wasn't like she was hanging out with friends, taking a little bit longer to get home. She just wasn't there. So her mom drove to the school, only to discover that Tabitha had never made it to school that day. Mom goes back home. Of course, they touch base with anybody they can think of. They're looking around, trying to find any information. By 6 p.m. on April 29th, 2003, Tabitha had still not come home, so they called the police that evening. Police came, took a report, and began their process. They did ask around. They spoke to a couple neighbors. One neighbor lady said, "Oh, I saw Tabitha. She was on her way to the bus stop like she was every morning." Fine. Another neighbor boy said that he had seen Tabitha that morning and that he had seen a red car pull up to her, to which Tabitha got into the car on her own. It was a gentleman, he said, black male wearing a baseball cap, and that once Tabitha got into the car, it turned around and headed back the direction it came from. Those would be the two final sightings of Miss Tabitha, or Boo as they called her. Mom would give the police the information that there were two bus stops near her house. The first one was 5 minutes away, and the mom had told her, if you get to the bus stop and there's no one there, then walk a little bit further down to the second bus stop so that you're not alone, in hopes of preventing something like this from happening, I'm sure. At the time that Tabitha disappeared, the police did their report, left the home, began asking around, and it took them 2 days before they came back to her home to do a more thorough investigation. I don't know much about law enforcement. That's not my field or profession, but I just think 2 days is kind of a long time to wait before you really start digging into things. When they came home and did the more thorough investigation in those 2 days, later, they discovered that Tabitha had left $20 in her room and her house key. I have kids. I don't know if you do, but my kids are not going to leave $20 at home. To me, it sounds like, okay, did she make it out of the house? Why would she leave her house key? Why would she leave her money? Kids like snack bars. Mine do. They're going to take that money. They're never going to leave it. However, they do have the sightings saying that they did see her on the way to the bus stop, and the police involved their police dogs who did sniff, and they lost her scent in between the two bus stops, is what it was said. During their search, they also discovered a note in Tabitha's room that read TDT-N-MTL. TDT, they believe, is Tabitha Danielle Tuders, her initials. MTL is a big question mark. Who is MTL? Originally, the police thought that maybe MTL was an 18-year-old male that the family knew. He was a son of friends of the family. However, he was looked into and quickly ruled out as a suspect. The other thing that was never done is there was never an Amber Alert issued for Miss Tabitha. They said they didn't have enough evidence, and so they didn't issue an Amber Alert immediately when she disappeared. They also looked into 3 known sex offenders in the area who were also given polygraphs, had alibis, and were quickly ruled out as suspects and became dead ends. Miss Tabitha has never been seen since. There have not been any other sightings of her. From the information that I can find, they said that this case has a lot of conflicting information. So they're kind of lost. Another thing was because nobody was home when she left for school, when the police asked, do you know what she was wearing that day? Unfortunately, they had to look through her clothes and kind of guess. Oh, well, we think she was wearing some jeans, a white tennis shoes, and a blue top. They don't know for sure because nobody was there with her, unfortunately. And that it happens. There's a lot of parents who have to work, and so they're not able to be home when their kids leave for school every day. And I'm sure they thought, oh, the bus stop is 5 minutes away from the house, so they weren't too worried about her walking that distance. But as we all know, things happen, and they can happen very close to home, and they can happen rather quickly. The pictures that I'm displaying for you are all images of Tabitha at the age that she was when she disappeared. There's also some enhanced pictures of what she may look like today. Today she would be about 29 years old. And if you have any information on her whereabouts, you can always email lovedonesmissing@gmail.com and we will pass it on. Another one of the pictures that I will be showing is her missing persons flyer. So all of the contact information is also on that flyer. If you have any information, you can contact the numbers that are provided. In 2020, there was a new lead to her case. It is not said what that is, but that it is being investigated and followed up on. Now is a great time for everybody to take a look at her picture, her information, and if you have any information, if you recognize her, please let somebody know. Reach out to the numbers in the flyer, reach out to our email address, and we will definitely pass any information on in hopes of bringing Miss Tabitha home safely. If you have any information on the red car or the gentleman driving the red car, that maybe you saw somebody like that with the little girl that resembles her and it kind of is coming back to you, you may think it's nothing, but every little thing helps, and every little detail might end up being a big detail at some point in this case. So please take a look at these pictures. Take a look at her age progression photos. Put any information you have into an email and we'll pass it along, or call the numbers listed on these flyers. She has a right to be brought home, as do every missing person that's missing out there. They all have a right to come home. I think it's a little crazy, in my opinion, that they didn't issue an Amber Alert. I know they don't do this for everybody because they didn't have enough information. They didn't have enough evidence. I just feel like if somebody's missing, regardless whether you think they're a runaway or they've been kidnapped, regardless of how much information, wouldn't it be beneficial to put their picture out there immediately? Get their information out there, their name, their height, their weight, regardless of whether or not you know what kind of car they were picked up in or what the license plate is. The responsibility is to find them immediately, and as we all know, the longer somebody's missing, the harder it is to find them. It just seems to me like balls were dropped in this case. I mean, 2 days before they really came to do an in-depth look at her house, no Amber Alert. I don't know. Maybe you guys know more about law enforcement and how that works, and maybe you can, drop some comments below and let us all know why do we not issue Amber Alerts immediately, regardless of the amount of information? Why would they wait 2 days? I know some of the information I was reading said that initially they thought maybe she was a runaway because she did leave money and she did leave her key. However, her family is saying absolutely not. There's no way she would ever do that. She was a straight A student. She was proud of her grades. She was a good girl. She didn't get in trouble. As a matter of fact, one of the sightings, I believe it was the little boy, said she was carrying something in her hand, and her parents believed that was her report card. She had just gotten her report card. She had made straight A's. She was really proud of the fact that she had worked so hard. I mean, she could have been running away, but it just doesn't sound likely in this case. And I truly believe that family members and parents, they know their kids. They know their family members better than anybody else. And if they're saying there's no way that she would have ran away, then I think things like that need to be taken seriously. And she needs to be brought home. She deserves that. So that's the case of Miss Tabitha Tuders, who is 13 years old. Once again, blonde hair, blue eyes, goes by the nickname Boo, from Nashville, Tennessee. Please take a look at all the pictures. Take a look at the information. Listen to it. If you know anything, even the slightest, please let us know. And we will do our best to pass that information on, or feel free to reach out to the numbers in the flyers. If you have a missing loved one, or you know someone who does, feel free to email us, lovedonesmissing@gmail.com. Case information, pictures, we will feature them. Let's all pull together. It takes a village. Let's pull together. Let's bring these people home. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday and a blessed day. And thank you again for watching.